Welcome back, y'all, to another reaction video. So let's watch 3 true Popeyes chicken horror stories animated. Let's watch.
The clock said 10:30 p.m. It was the last half hour of my shift, and I just wanted to finish, go home, and leave the routine of frying food and ringing up orders behind me. The kitchen was shut down. The last customers had left, and the restaurant was quiet. It was just the three of us, me at the counter, Lisa clearing the tables, and Mark in the kitchen finishing up. Suddenly, the metallic sound of the automatic door glided through the air, a familiar sound that was disconcerting at this hour of the night. The door opened slowly and a dark figure stepped inside. He was covered by a hood. I was rather annoyed as we were about to close, but here came one of those people who come in at the last minute. He approached the empty counter. I had just finished packing my things, and with some frustration, I decided to go over and greet him in a polite tone. But he was serious, just standing there with his head down, as if he was deciding something. Finally, he looked up, and although I couldn't see his face clearly, his eyes shone with a mixture of impatience and something darker. My body instantly tensed. I asked if he needed anything, trying to sound normal, but my voice was shakier than I had expected. The man didn't answer. His right hand slipped slowly under his jacket, and the glint of metal caught my attention. It was a weapon, and he raised it to chest height. I felt the cold grip of death, and my breath froze. "Empty the register," he said in a dry, firm voice, while with his other hand he pulled a small, clear bag from his pocket and threw it on the counter. My whole body froze. It was as if I was floating outside of myself, watching the scene from above. For a moment, I thought I was dead. I just couldn't move, my hands shaking uncontrollably. My mind was racing too fast, a whirlwind of thoughts. What will happen if I don't? Will he shoot us? Has Lisa noticed? Does Mark know we're in danger? The man banged the cash register with the barrel of his gun, snapping me out of paralysis. "No!" he shouted, and I felt the sharp edge of panic pierce my chest. My fingers barely responded. I fumbled as I tried to open the register. The sound of the bell as it opened was like a death knell. My hands fluttered, shaking, as I pulled the notes out one by one, stuffing them into the bag. As I desperately searched the room for help, I saw her. Lisa was standing at the back of the restaurant, frozen, with a rag in her hands and her eyes wide open, not daring to make a sound. Every second felt worse than the last. I could feel cold sweat running down my back, and every breath was a struggle. The guy still had his gun raised, expressionless, staring at me intently. When I was finally finished, I pushed the bag towards him, praying that it would be enough. "Don't do anything stupid," he warned as he shoved the bag into his jacket. He took one last look at me with a wry smile and turned to leave. But just before the door closed behind him, I saw it. A small detail that chilled me even more. In the back pocket of his jeans, an iPhone with a black and white case was sticking out. It wasn't anything important, but for some reason it felt strange and stuck in my mind. The man disappeared into the darkness of the night, leaving a heavy, dense atmosphere in the place. I could feel my legs shaking so much that I had to hold on to the counter to keep from falling over.
"Are you okay?"
Lisa asked, her voice shaking. I nodded without saying a word, but the truth was that I was not all right. I could feel his presence, as if the air around me had been saturated with his dark energy. The whole restaurant seemed distorted, with shadows lurking in the corners, watching me. Lisa ran to the back, and suddenly I was alone. The silence that followed was worse. It felt like something, or someone, was watching me from the shadows, hiding between the tables. Every little sound made my heart race, the hum of the fridge in the kitchen, the buzz of the lights. Everything sounded like a whisper, as if fear had brought the place to life. I looked at the door, expecting something else to happen. What if he comes back? I thought. What if he never really left? The phone, that damn phone, kept popping into my head. Cops were called. They checked CCTV footage. Man was unidentified because of the hoodie he was wearing. But then they noticed the iPhone in his back pocket with black and white case. The man with iPhone with black and white case was enough to track Brown. Brown was tracked down through surveillance camera and was then arrested. The real-life case involved a man named Nathaniel Brown, 42, who was arrested by Rockford police for an armed robbery at a Popeyes restaurant at approximately 10:43 p.m. on April 30th, 2024. Employees at the Popeyes on Auburn Street reported that a man, later identified as Brown, robbed the business at gunpoint and forced them to empty the cash register into a light-colored bag. He then fled on foot, but was tracked by police K-9 units to Irving Avenue, where they found an iPhone linked to Brown. Surveillance footage confirmed the suspect's actions and his phone, thanks to a witness. On 5 May, police followed a GMC Yukon driven by Brown, and later saw video evidence from Auburn Manor, showing him carrying a bag on the night of the robbery. Brown is now charged with armed robbery.
Damn. Wow.
I've been working at Popeyes for
identified him via his phone case.
a couple of years now. It's not the most glamorous job, but it pays the bills. I've seen my fair share of difficult customers. People get angry about the smallest things when it comes to fast food. Missing biscuits, cold fries, wrong sides, the usual stuff. But this was different. It started like any other shift. It was just past 8 p.m. and we were closing in a couple of hours. I was at the counter, handing out orders, trying to keep up with the dinner rush. I saw her when she first came in, angry from the second she stepped through the door. You can always tell when someone's about to make your life harder, and she had that look. Dark eyes, twitching hands, the kind of aura that makes you want to stay away. She ordered a lot of food, way more than the usual customer. I didn't think much of it until she came back about 20 minutes later, slamming her bag on the counter.
Oh no.
I paid for this damn food, and y'all messed it up.
She shouted, loud enough for the whole restaurant to hear. I tried to stay calm like I always do.
I'm sorry, ma'am. Let me take a look.
She better look exactly
I
like
opened the
this.
bag, already knowing where this was going.
'Cause this is
She was missing a
crazy.
side of fries and some nuggets. Small mistake, easily fixed. But she wasn't having it. Before I could offer to replace the item, she leaned over the counter and snapped.
You think this is a joke? You think I'm playing with y'all?
Her eyes were wild, darting around like she couldn't decide whether to scream or hit something. My heart started to race, but I kept my voice steady.
Ma'am, I can fix this. This is not a problem.
She didn't move, just stood there, staring at me with this strange, unsettling smile.
Fix it.
She whispered through gritted teeth.
You gonna fix it? You better, or else.
I could feel the tension rising, thickening the air around me. I tried to stay focused, pulling out the fries and nuggets she was missing, but I could sense her pacing. Her eyes never left me. Something about the way she was acting. It wasn't just anger. It was something darker. I felt it deep in my gut. I handed her the fresh food, trying to smile, trying to keep things from escalating.
There you go, ma'am.
That don't
Sorry
work in
for the
fast
mix-up.
food.
She
Some
didn't
people-
take the bag. Her eyes flicked down to the food, then back up to me. And that's when I saw it. In her hand, just barely visible under the sleeve of her jacket, something shiny. A knife. My throat tightened. I'd dealt with angry customers before, but this? It was insane. She wasn't here to just yell and storm out. She was out for blood. My hands started to shake. I stepped back from the counter,
Right, thank
hoping
you.
anyone
gonna
was
stand
paying
there?
attention. But the restaurant was busy, and everyone was minding their own business. She leaned in closer, the blade catching the light as she twirled it between her fingers.
You think I'm stupid, don't you?
She hissed.
Think I'll just take this and leave, huh? Y'all think you can mess with me and get away?
I wanted to scream for help, but my voice wouldn't come out. She stepped around the counter, right into the kitchen, and pointed the knife at me.
You better give me everything I want, or I swear, I'm gonna carve you up like one of those chickens.
My breath hitched. The
No one sees
restaurant
this?
suddenly felt so much smaller. I backed away, my palms sweaty, slipping on the floor. There was nowhere to go. She had me cornered. I tried to stay calm,
No one
tried to
sees
think
this.
of a way out.
Please, you don't have to do this.
I whispered, my voice cracked, betraying how scared I was. But she just grinned wider, her teeth bared like a predator playing with its prey.
Oh, but I do.
She raised the knife, pointing it right at my chest.
Nobody that messes with me is left unbothered.
I could feel my heart pounding in my ears. Every second felt like hours. And then, out of nowhere, sirens, flashing lights outside,
Okay.
police cars. She froze as her eyes darted toward the door. For a moment, I thought maybe she'd give up. But instead, she lunged at me, knife raised, teeth bared. I ducked just in time. She hit the counter hard, stumbling.
What?
Before she could recover, the police burst in, guns were drawn, and voices boomed. The whole place erupted into chaos. She was screaming, swiping at the officers, but they weren't taking any chances. She was arrested and taken away. I collapsed to the floor, shaking, barely able to breathe. The knife slipped from her hand, clattering onto the tile beside me. It was over, just like that. But the terror, that stayed with me. I never looked at a Popeyes the same way again. This story is based on a real incident in Harris County, Texas. A woman named Visha Walker was arrested after a violent altercation leading to assault at a Popeyes outlet located on West Lake Houston Parkway over an incorrect order. Armed with a knife, she threatened the on-duty manager. The cops were informed right
She
away,
did not
and
look like that
Visha was
person.
taken into custody. She was later booked into the Harris County Jail, facing charges of assault. Her bond was set at $100 by County Court 14.
All that over some
The evening
Popeyes.
rush was in full swing at Popeyes, the air thick
Oh,
with the
they've ordered
smell
them
of
chicken
fried
sandwiches?
chicken and the sound of sizzling oil. I was behind the counter, trying to
This
keep
is
up with
crazy.
the orders, when I noticed a customer becoming increasingly agitated. His name was Garrett, a regular who often came in for his favorite chicken sandwich. 20-year-old Eric Charles was good at handling customers. A college kid working part-time is always calm, even when people lose it over the smallest things. That's why I didn't think much of it when I heard him attending to the customer. Just another night. It started low, angry muttering, but it grew louder. That's when I first noticed something was off. This is ridiculous. I said I wanted spicy chicken. This isn't what I ordered. I come here all the time, and this is how you treat me? Calm down, man.
Oh, like a
Another customer
fajita.
chimed in from the back of the line.
They got fajitas at
Just
Popeyes?
chicken. I'm sorry about that. Let me fix that for you. That seemed to ignite something in Garrett. He turned around, glaring at everyone who dared to look his way. What? You think this is funny? You think you can all just laugh at me? I've been waiting out here forever, and you can't even get my order right? I want my money back. Suddenly, he slammed his fist on the counter, causing cups to rattle and customers to jump back in surprise. Give me my money now, he screamed. Sir, I apologize for the mix-up. That's it? You made me wait for this, and you think a half-assed apology is enough? I want my money back. Here you go, sir. Again, I apologize for the mix-up. People get angry all the time, mess up an order, make them wait too long, and suddenly it's like the world's ending. Eric knew that. We all did. But this guy was different. Here's your refund, sir. Again, sorry for the inconvenience. You think this is a joke? You think I'm some idiot you can brush off with a few dollars? Sir, there's no need for this. I've given you your refund. Let's just... That's not good enough! I knew it was about to get bad. Eric stayed calm and tried to talk him down, but I could see it. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a gun. My blood ran cold as realization struck me like a lightning bolt. The guy wasn't just mad, he was ready to do something. Eric, get back! I screamed, but Garrett was beyond reason. His eyes were wild with rage and desperation. You think this is a joke? You think you can mess with me? In that moment of chaos, everything seemed to happen in slow motion. The manager rushed forward, trying to talk him down. Garrett, let's just calm down and talk about this. But it was too late. Garrett's finger tightened on the trigger as he shouted incoherently about being disrespected and wronged. The tension in the air was evident. Every breath felt like a countdown. Then it happened. A loud bang echoed.
Wow.
I ducked behind the counter, my heart pounding violently against my chest as screams filled my ears. When silence finally fell over the restaurant, I cautiously peeked over the counter. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. It was like time had stopped. Then I saw Eric. I kept telling myself it wasn't real, that I'd wake up any second, but the blood on my hands told me otherwise. Hold on, Eric. Help's on the way. Emergency sirens wailed in the distance as police arrived moments later to secure the scene. The aftermath was surreal. Customers huddled together outside while paramedics rushed inside. As I sat there trembling, holding Eric, reality crashed down on me like a tidal wave. Lives had been shattered over something so trivial, a simple mistake that spiraled into unimaginable horror. In those haunting moments that followed, I realized how fragile life could be, how quickly anger could transform into violence over something
Popeyes.
as mundane as an incorrect order at Popeyes. As I stepped outside into the cold night air, surrounded by flashing lights and chaos unfolding around me, one thought lingered. How easily could we lose ourselves over something so trivial? That night would haunt me forever, a reminder of how quickly a craving for fried chicken turned into a nightmare that no one would ever forget. The story was inspired by a horrific incident that happened on December 6th, 2020, in San Antonio, Texas. A tragic shooting occurred at a Popeyes restaurant. The incident began as an argument between a customer and an employee over an incorrect order at the drive-thru window. The customer, 31-year-old Garrett, became increasingly agitated when he received the wrong meal. Frustration escalated into a heated confrontation, with Garrett demanding a refund. Tensions rose further when Garrett exited his vehicle and approached the drive-thru window. During the argument, Garrett pulled out a handgun and fired multiple shots at the Popeyes employee working the window, 20-year-old Eric Charles, who was also a college student working part-time. Eric Charles was struck by the gunfire, sustaining fatal injuries to his chest and neck. After the shooting, the scene quickly turned chaotic as other employees and customers panicked. Garrett fled the scene, but was later apprehended by police. Unfortunately, despite emergency medical efforts, Eric Charles was pronounced dead. This senseless act of violence shocked the community, and Garrett faced serious charges for his actions.
I think out of all jobs, when it comes to working with like the public or whatever, working with people, I feel like fast food is the craziest because people get really unhinged when it comes to food, and it be grown, like really big grown adults. Like I've had my orders messed up so many times. It's never been that serious for me to go and attack a person because they messed up my order. Yeah, I be hungry, but just fix it so I can go eat. Like it's never been that deep for me to attack somebody. People are unhinged. That's why like I've only worked at fast food once in my life at a food court. It wasn't that bad, but you will always have like those ones who just, I don't fucking know who raised them. I don't know what their problem be, but they just take it to the next level when it comes to their food. Yeah, so don't play with people. Don't play with people's money for sure, and don't play with their food because they become a whole nother person. But just dealing with people, period, you never know like what you're gonna get. So yeah, that's gonna do it for this reaction, you guys. Make sure to leave some likes and comments down below. Let me know what you guys think, and I will see you on the next one. Toodles.